Welcome back. Well, we know life is full of pretty proverbs like nothing ventured, nothing gained. Words that beg us to take risks. But do you follow through? Well, I recently talked to Victoria Labalme. She's the author of the book Risk Forward, and it challenges readers to challenge the norm and go beyond what's expected.
Risking forward is all about going into the unknown, even if you're not 100% sure where you're going or if it's going to work out.
So it's kind of like leap and the net will appear.
To some degree, although a lot of the time I feel statements like that can, for some people, maybe not everyone, put pressure on them. So this is about going forward, even in small steps, that kind of wobbly, uncertain feeling. And it's the argument that that's actually okay. There are all these statements like go big or go home. And I think that's counterproductive. So this is really about going forward, heart open, even if you're off balance, heading into the unknown.
I absolutely love that. So what are some risks we should be taking that we're not right now?
Well, it depends on who it is. I love your question. It could be something as simple as speaking up and expressing how you're thinking or feeling. It could be you in a meeting. There's a strategy in the book I share, which is to trust the idea that can lead to the idea. And I say to people, look, if you're in a meeting and you're afraid to speak up, you can simply say, I don't know if this is a good idea, but it could be the idea that leads to the idea. And that just lets you risk forward. It could be something like that. It could be trying a new movie, a new book off your shelf, any kind of small risk that takes you in the direction that you are excited about most.
What is this way of thinking? How does that help us navigate these very uncertain times?
Yeah, well, there's this myth out there that's been around for decades, which is you got to have a plan, you got to have a goal, and you got to be clear if you're going to be successful. And for many years, I suffered under that myth. Like I felt like I was less than because I didn't have a plan and a goal. I was just figuring it out as I went. And so what I encourage people to do, especially now coming out of the pandemic, is that it's okay not to know. But one thing that we will always regret is not having tried. So it's to trust yourself and to try that small step in business and life.
I think that's a wonderful way of doing it. So do you have any advice on dealing with indecision? Like in my work life, I'm very good at being decisive about what I want. In my personal life, I do struggle with indecision. How can Risk Forward help?
Excellent. I love that question too, because there's this whole section of the book, which by the way, I just have to do a little view of it because it's not a typical book. Like this is a fun book. I was talking about this earlier with you guys. It's colorful, it's creative. Every page is different. Some pages have diagrams, some pages have text, and it's fun to look at. And there's a whole page with an iceberg of indecision. And I make the case for indecision as a valuable insight, meaning there's wisdom in your indecision. When you're indecisive, it's for a reason. And we are taught to believe that's a weakness in character. Instead of saying, what's below the surface? Why are we indecisive? Is it that we need more information? Is it that we have something that we believe, but we're afraid to say it? Is it that we feel too much pressure from others or we're afraid to let others down? So it's becoming aware of what's underneath and honoring your indecision.
I think that is a really good way of looking at that. And what an incredible practice to learn oneself as well. You actually have 3 key questions to ask when getting advice, which I think this is great as well.
Yes. Having grown up as the youngest of 4 kids, I was always getting advice from other people. And then I got into the habit of asking for advice and I learned to filter it. And here's what I tell my clients. I work with top executives, entrepreneurs, artists, consultants, students, CEOs, you name it. Here's what I say. Number 1, who's giving the advice? Number 2, how does it feel? Like, does it sit well with you from that first moment? Because sometimes we go beyond our instincts. We go, oh, well, I should really pay attention. And 3, is it in line with where you think you want to go? Because sometimes someone gives you advice and they're really not qualified. As I say, don't tell your problems to people who can't help you solve them.
These are 3 good guidelines for us to follow. And also, I think taking those risks might help us ask more questions. So thank you so much, Victoria. Is there anything else that you wanted to share that we haven't gotten to?
Well, I'd simply say, the opening line of the book, Risk Forward, is some people in life know exactly what they want to achieve. This is a book for the rest of us.
There you have it.